Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OK Grognard Show. It is Wednesday, July 29th, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Wednesday is campaign discussion day, so we're going to discuss some variant rules on background, contacts, honor, and reputation. We're going to dive into each. We're going to start with one, and we're going to dive into as many as we can get to in this half hour. And if we don't get to them all, we'll have some for next time. And that's okay too. So, question is, what do we got here? This, by the way, I should say, is a little self-serving in that it is a backgrounds, contact, honor, and reputation are some variant subsystem rules that were introduced during the 3.xe era. They aren't incompatible with any edition of medieval fantasy role-playing games. It depends. It depends on, always depends on how much work you want to do, right? I mean, you can take anything and make it fit eventually into one game or another. This just happens to be something that I think a lot of campaigns lack. Now, they've tried to do, let's do this. And let's switch over to this so that we can then also do this. Make her nice and big. Check her out. Yeah, this is a Creative Mountain Games thing. It's basically 4 chunks of open game content. And if we have a quick look at, if you want to dig up the original stuff, it's easy enough to see in the Open Game License Section 15. What was mentioned in the game mechanics, they had put out something, Swords of Our Father, was included, and so was Mutant and Masterminds. 2002 Green Ronin, as some people are fond of saying, although it's Ronin, right? Publishing were both included in the Section 15 of the Unearthed Arcana 2004 Wizards of the Coast Section 15, as was Modern, and of course the SRD. So all of those things went into Unearthed Arcana, so all of those things have to be included in the SRD for this product, which is called Background Contacts, Honor, and Reputation 2004, and end of license. So these 4 different kind of subsystems were included in there. The Variant Rules Pack also has rules for weather and rules for organizations, although I think the example given is cults, but you can use it for any sort of organization. And again, all of this was put together originally in the where are we at? In the 3.5 era. Do I pop up if we do that? No, I don't think we do. I don't think we do. Anywho, this is Oh, because I'm there, so it's got to be up here. Yep. Easily works with 3.0, 3.5, Pathfinder. You can integrate these rules fairly simply because they include lots of those 3.x isms, so to speak. Here you go. Let me read the introduction here on variant rules. This handy supplement includes a miscellany of variant rules and subsystems that affect the way a campaign works. These variants don't change individual characters or tactics, but instead represent additional aspects to either or both non-player and player characters, such as the rules for honor, or how the game handles certain pre-game elements, such as the section on backgrounds. As wide-reaching effects, variant rules don't have the ability to change your games in... Variant rules often have the ability to change your games in ways both dramatic and system-altering. But the ones I personally prefer build the system up in areas where it is lacking or could use more definition. If you include one of these variants, you may treat them as options for the characters to more fully interact with the campaign world. However, there's no reason you can't keep your use of these subsystems strictly to yourself as a way to flesh out NPCs and adjudicate interaction between them and the PCs. You can even keep a private tally for your own edification on how a PC is being quote-unquote scored by one of these systems. For instance, reputation rules lend themselves to modifying any interaction that takes place in your campaign world. Keeping secret individual reputation score for each of the player characters in your game can help to liven up the game even when the PCs are handling mundane tasks. I hope you enjoy these variants as much as I do and find that they add a great deal of depth and fun to your game. So on that last note, alignment. Hey all, how's it going, Hobbsy? Article just a car. Oh, thanks for the subscription. No need to do that. It's not a money-making venture for me, but I appreciate the support. Ink Dweller 8, how you doing this morning? Nice to see you all in there. I'm going to take a moment to just pontificate regarding alignment, because I treat alignment the same way I just suggested you can treat some of these variant rules, in that these are not... Alignment is not, in my opinion, in my campaigns, alignment is not meant to force you to play your character a certain way. Alignment is meant to be a view of how you have been playing. So, fresh slate, when you start, pick an alignment. Paladin, for instance, lawful good. It's the easiest extreme example to use. Right up until the point where you start playing that paladin, you've been considered lawful good. What happens to your alignment going forward depends on your actions. Your actions are not dictated by that alignment, but the other way around. It's a record. It's a tally of what you've been up to. Good morning, Skull and Pants. How's your wife doing? I hope she's feeling a little better today. Starting to come around, Mike, huh? These subsystems on, again, background, contacts, honor, and reputation are all meant to enhance the game in ways that might not be covered in the campaign you're running. If you're running a homebrew that you only have so much time to work on, if you're running a campaign setting that you've picked up from somewhere that doesn't cover these sorts of things, then this is all there. I do believe that 5th edition backgrounds are sort of an evolution from this. They're a little more defined and perhaps I don't want to say generic because it's the opposite, really. Because if two characters take the same background and they both happen to be fighters with stats that are the same and take the same weapons, then right up and down the line they're going to be very much the same type, both taking, say, a soldier background, for instance. Let's just do that. Look at that, huh? All hyperlinked and such. So we've got character backgrounds, we've got contacts, we've got honor, and we've got reputation in alphabetical order throughout the roughly 40-page book. Yes, she is. She overdid it by going back to work too soon. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, when you're down for the count for a little while, you rush back to work. You're pushing your systems maybe a little too far. Especially right now. This is not a time for people to be exhausting themselves and then being around other people and putting themselves in the line of fire or in harm's way. So just let her know. All her friends are thinking of her and wishing her well and hoping she comes out of it. For any of the rest of you in the channel or watching this, anybody can succumb to this current virus situation, no matter how young, how strong, how wonderful they are. And when it hits closer to home for you, you'll be taking this seriously if you aren't already. So do yourself a favor, get out in front of this. There's no sense putting you or your friends or your family, especially elders or children, in harm's way. So be careful. And that's a campaign tip for real life. So there, we're back on topic. Character backgrounds, you know what? Let's start there. If you define background as everything that happened to a character before and now, then you can use this character background variant to actually generate a character. The system, detailed below, lets you build a high-level character as if that character had started at first level, undertaking adventures and earning experience points. Before starting to use this system, you'll need to generate a set of ability scores and decide on the character's race. The tables in this section will take care of the rest. To finish generating the character, simply choose the type of adventuring activity he or she undertook at each level, stopping when you have the character level you want. For example, if you want a 9th level character, use the tables in this section 9 times. You can roll percentile dice or choose the result you like. This variant is a quick way to bring a new character into an ongoing campaign. You'll get a character that's had some life experiences, then built up a personal history. It's also a useful variant if you want to create characters for a new campaign that starts with the characters higher than first level. This background variant works best in conjunction with the event-based reputation variant and contacts variant. If you flesh out contacts and reputation further using those separate variant rules, you can ignore those columns in the tables that follow for the background generation. So you got a short form of both the contacts and reputation variant rules built within this background subsystem of its own. Just a sort of a sketch where you can fill it out even further by using those other rules. To continue, as a general rule, if it matters, depending on how you use this variant, each of the background selections is considered to take up to 1d6 in game time. For example, if you create a dwarf character, begins adventuring at 48, you apply 4 background selections to that character. The dwarf's age as a 4th level character is 48 plus 4d6 months. Okay, I was going to say 1d6 what? Clover? You didn't say years, days, months. What is it? Well, it's months. If you let the dice fall where they may with this variant, you'll get more multi-class characters than you would want in a standard campaign, where PCs start first level or build characters to a target level before the campaign begins. Spellcasters, in particular, lose significant power if they have more than a handful of non-spellcasting levels, so you'll want to monitor the dice results closely. So that is to say that in that 3.xe era, it was very common to multi-class a level of this, a level of that. Some people, when building characters, would refer to that as dipping. One might take a first level of barbarian to gain the big hit points and a little bit of rage, and then switch over to a magic user. As incongruous as that is to the standard idea that barbarians are very dead against magic. Uh-oh. Something just popped. I don't know. Can you still hear me in the chat? Can you hear me in the chat? I'm asking everybody. Okay, so this network error that I'm seeing, can you see? Can you see the rules visually? Yep, you can see the rules visually. Okay. There's a big thing on my Twitch screen right now that says there was a network error. Please try again. Error number 2000. So apparently it's only happening to my screen. And what I'm going to do is go to, and I'm going to just open up a new tab with a new Twitch. Yes, wiggle your mouse or something. Yeah, no, I wiggled my mouse. What if I tap on it? Nope, nope. Well, I just opened up a new one and I can see that just fine. So as long as I know it's still there, that's good. Anyway, to continue, 46 months added to the standard dwarf age level. And this is all 3.0, I guess, 2004. Now that would be 3.5. So they just say, because it's kind of geared more toward multi-class, the idea that multi-classing is something that a lot of people will do. The randomness is what it is, really, right? The randomness of going off of tables in a random way just means you're going to wind up with more multi-class. So you kind of got to keep an eye on things as you go along and make sure you're not careening off in some crazy direction if you feel like that takes you too far away from the norm. How to read the tables. Each of the tables in this section contains 8 pieces of information. Here's what the information means. Activity. A word or phrase that summarizes what the character focused his attention on or learned about the most about during the time he spent advancing from one level to the next. Class. You know, the way that's worded, I'm not sure of months in the previous. I think I'd almost want to go years. 46 months is up to 6 months enough? Or a year is more appropriate, especially with, it shouldn't be across the board now that I'm even thinking about it that way. I don't like that humans can age the same amount going up a level that a dwarf can age. It's really insignificant how long an elf, 46 months, right? Compared to a human, which could be a few years, which could... Anyway, We'll move on. We'll think about that later. Class, the class in which the character's most recent level was gained. Some of these entries in this column are prestige classes. See, so in class, you just pick, I think. If you're building a magic user, you just say, okay, it's magic user, well, 3rd edition, wizard, 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 all 4 levels, and we just move on. If you don't qualify for the class indicated, select one of the other classes. See if you can select anyway, what the hell, right? Feats, the character chooses one of the given feats if he is at a level when ordinarily would gain such a feat. So in these cases, if you're doing this with the 1st edition, feats you could just ignore, or you could add in like a list of minor magic items. Essentially, a feat gives you a sort of a ability, like a minor magic item ability. Hey, Growlite, how's it going? Skills, column identifies 3 or more skills that your character must spend skill points on. Again, 3rd edition and beyond, or anywhere in that realm. 3rd, 3.5, Pathfinder. 4th too, right? You use skill points in 4th. Gear, all right, here we go. This is universal, right? This column provides guidance for equipping the character. Only matters when you finish creating the character's background. In general, the character spends up to 30% of her wealth. Check the following wealth percentage tables for figures by level on a gear associated with recent activity. All right, there's the wealth percentages. First 0 across the board. NPC, what's going on here? 30% 270, 30% 600. Next 2. Seems like NPCs get a bigger chunk earlier, but quickly are outshined by the PC wealth percentages. Alrighty. Contracts, here we go. It may be that this whole background thing doesn't translate well to 1st edition the more I'm reading about it. It may be that you want to just use contacts and reputation on their own. I'm going to skip those second. Recognition, accomplishments, rewards. Doesn't that fall under... It's how much recognition you have kind of fall under reputation a little bit. I like that. Academic magic background. So these are sort of a narrative version of a generic background tied to arcane spell user, aristocrat. There's an NPC class. We went over NPC classes recently. Cross-cultural background, government background, maritime background. I like these as a general overview. If you need something for your campaign to explain someone's mercantile background, so if you're using like the secondary skill tables or that sort of thing, and someone has a background as a shopkeep or something, you might look this over or incorporate this or some example of this. Guild ranks, military background, religious, skilled background. Is that their sly way of not saying thieves? Okay. Underworld background. Interesting. Wilderness background. Rangers. What? Druids, maybe. Barbarians. Customizing backgrounds. All right. And then we get into the tables. So, activity class, feats, skills, both of which we can ignore if we're looking at 1st edition probably. Gear, contacts, reputation, those 2 of which we could probably ignore. Recognition, society, DC 30. That's a straight out 3.xe edition era ism. So, I don't know. This stuff doesn't translate very well to be using in 1st edition. I like here. I like the activity narratively. I like those. Gear, armor. Okay, okay. Interesting. There's a sort of progression there, right? Duelist, right? All right. So there's some stuff to be gleaned from the tables in the activity column. I think reading over the rest of this gives you some ideas for things that can translate, but there are no direct translations for those, I don't think. But definitely there's some names of professions, so to speak, there, except for stowaway. Windbringer. Druid or sorcerer that's on a ship is known as the Windbringer. That's an interesting little tidbit there. Alrighty. That continues as such through a bunch more tables for the various different background types that we suggested. Underworld, we're almost there. Wilderness, and of course customizes its own thing. We won't get into that. Tell you what, we're nearly at a half hour. Let's save this contacts thing. But if you want to pause the end of this video and just read the opening for that, and then read that, and then read that, and then read that. You'll be a little bit ahead of everybody else when we dig this back up. We'll just continue with this either next week or the week after, depending. Every now and then something will come up right before a show, a day or two even sometimes, and I'll want to get on it right away, and then this will take a back seat. But either this week or the next, we'll get back to this and we'll look at contacts. We will definitely wind up taking a look at where are we at? Oh, I see. There we go. We'll definitely take a look also at eventually at that weather, at those weather rules, which would be good for a campaign Wednesday discussion. And the other thing in there is organizations. But again, I think that one is going to be more mechanical, kind of in line with 3.xe, 3.5 Pathfinder sort of mechanics. So we might not spend any time on that one. But definitely contacts, honor, and reputation from this we'll have a good look at over the next coming weeks. And we'll see what we can port over to first edition and or other systems. I'll always have an eye toward first edition. That's just my thing. Appreciate everybody coming out. Just a quick heads up on the old schedule there that tomorrow, game running tips, building adventures on Friday, DM reviews on Saturday, rules retrospective on Sunday, weekly news and announcements on Monday, cartography and world building on Tuesday, then back around to campaign discussion next week. If you are here watching in Twitch, by all means, please do follow the channel and speak up in the stream chat during a live show, because that gets you on a little listeroo for a giveaway we do each week. Just a little something to say thank you to people who are following the channel. No purchase necessary. The only reason we ask you to follow and to chime in is because that way we know you're not just a bot. And we don't want to be trying to give away the good stuff to bots. We want to be giving it to real people. I've got everybody that is here on the list for this week. If you're following this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Maybe make a comment. Give us a little constructive feedback. We'd appreciate it. Thank you very much once again. We will catch you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.